Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Dead Spot Podcast. Thanks for tuning in. We're gonna jump right into it, get into a couple of these games that happened over the last few days. Since it happened a few days ago, we'll start with the Brooklyn versus Philly game. Oh man, that was a crazy game. The Nets came out ready to go. The Nets came out prepared, and what I will say is I was impressed with Kyrie Irving. I was impressed with the way, like the aggressiveness he came out with, the way he was guarding James. I wasn't here to watch the game live, but I rewatched it, and you could tell that they took that game personal. You know what I'm saying? KD was hitting, Seth was hitting, Kyrie was hitting, so everything was clicking on all cylinders. What I will say is for Philly is, for James Harden, it is a little concerning that he came out and had that bad of a game because you know what I'm saying. I'm not as big on the he don't do good in no big game moments like some people because he didn't have 30 some, even though it wasn't always good shooting percentages, but he has had bad moments. The Spurs game, the Heat finals, it was a lot of moments, right? So for him to see this, for me to watch him do that last night was kind of, I mean, a few days ago, it was kind of like, damn, So me, I was somebody that was more big on the Philly than most people. I'm not jumping off the bandwagon. I still think they could reach the Eastern Conference Finals. I just felt like James got to learn. He got to find something in him to step up in these big games. I mean, it's a pattern now, you know what I'm saying? So it's something that's probably going to be in his head. He got some more big games this year. They play the Suns still. They play the Bucks still. They got Miami still. So they got some games where he could make it up and kind of get the game rolling. But it wasn't a great sign. But the thing is, Maxey only had 4 points. Harden went 3 for 17. Like those are things that I'm not going to really count on moving forward. So I'm not that worried. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes shit just happen in the NBA. You get caught on a bad day. They clicking on all cylinders, and that's kind of what just happened. I don't think that that's just a true testament to how this gonna go. I still feel Philly could beat them. I don't really know once Ben Simmons come back, if Ben Simmons is even coming back, how he fits into it. Like right now, look good. Kyrie Irving is, but I'm gonna tell you like this: Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving are two of the best offensive basketball players we've ever seen in history of basketball. So if they get rolling, they can beat anybody. And then they got Seth; they can beat anybody. So I'm not ruling them out. It's just a simple fact that I feel like what Philly got is enough to take them in a series. You know what I'm saying? Like they didn't foul at all in this game. They played very disciplined. It's gonna be very hard against the Embiid and James Harden to play that foul free for 7 games. You know what I'm saying? Is Seth going to be hitting every game? Kyrie and KD, we'll see if they play that flawlessly. But if they play the way they played the other day and Harden them come out, obviously Brooklyn gonna take that. But right now, I don't think that's enough to say, oh, it's over because they got blew out. Shit happens. Teams lose to teams they're not supposed to, or teams that's not as good as them all the time. I think this is just one of them games. It was a big momentum game in Brooklyn. I feel like moving forward, they feel good about it. Obviously, they got the best player on their team. KD is the best player in any series, other than if they play in the Bucks, in my opinion. So they got the advantage there. But if I had to go, I'm not gonna get off my Philly take yet. It wasn't a good look. That was worst case scenario, and mainly just because of like the Twitter shit, just the people talking shit. But as far as the way my judgment go, I need to see them in a few more big games together. That was the first actual hiccup they didn't have since they've been together. Every other game, I think that all three of them played hard. Maxi and Embiid, they all scored 20 plus. So it was looking good. I think that was their first loss together. It's a bad first loss to take, but it's a first loss nevertheless. So I think that'd be cool. I'm not really too worried about it. Now, if this continue a pattern of every time a big game come, he just don't show up no more, and we got to revisit it. But right now, I'm not jumping off the bandwagon. Let's talk about last night, the Warriors and the Bucks. Man, Clay went crazy. Now, listen, I got it in my notes right here. I'm supposed to come on here and say that um, I thought they should have benched Clay because Clay was not doing as good. Without Clay, they was 33-13. With Clay now, they're 13-9. They almost have just as many losses with him. And the reason for that, I feel like, is because Clay is somebody that's not going to come back in and ease his way. Clay, from day one of his first game, came back putting the ball up because that's what he do. He's a shooter. He's getting his shots up. He don't matter if it's KD on the team, no KD on the team, who on the team. He said he getting his shots up regardless. So for him to try to find his rhythm in the middle of the starting lineup, I feel like was kind of hurting everybody. Now Wiggins is shooting. the worst field goal percentage of any player after the All-Star break. I think that's a lot to do with Clay coming back and him trying to find his rhythm and everybody trying to help him find that. Now that also could help have a reason to do why Steph was on a crazy all-time for him slump. You know what I'm saying? Like all of these players start to struggle around the time Clay came back because it's such an emphasis on making sure Clay is healthy. It's such an emphasis on making sure Clay feel like he got his room to adjust. They love Clay. Clay is a fan favorite. My fiance is a die-hard Warriors fan. Her favorite player is Clay. I get it, the whole Warrior Nation. But it's like, bro, putting him with the second unit. And if you look at it last night, when he started killing, it was with the second unit. When Steph went to the bench, when you had Jordan Poole out there running point instead of playing off ball, they had Belly out there, and who else was out there? Another bench player was out there, but was it Moody? I think whoever it was when Clay started killing, it was the second unit, and because he could shine with them, they need more scoring, they need more attack. So you better get your shots up. Now I'm not saying leave him on the bench for the rest of the season. If he starts to get back into it, then maybe. But I would go right now, especially with Draymond coming back. Like the three guard set last night was cool. You had Steph, Jordan Poole, and Clay, but you won't be able to do that now because you got Drake coming back. And I don't think you should not start Wiggins. I think Wiggins should keep his starting spot. I really do. I know he's going through a slump right now, but what do you do for y'all defensively? You leave him in the starting lineup along with Dre, Jordan Poole, and Clay. I mean, Jordan Poole and Curry should be able to take care of most of the score while Wiggins kind of getting back on track. I just don't see how you take him out. I feel like the common denominator in everybody's struggle start was Clay. So Clay, find your groove back on the bench, man, and get it going. It's not a bad thing. He can still play 25, 30 minutes. It just needs to be managed differently. If you manage it a little differently, I think that'll help Steph. I think that'll help Wiggins and it'll keep Jordan Poole involved because Jordan Poole was already struggling on the first half of Clay playing. He was having a tough time. He had, I think it was like the first 5, 6 games, or even scoring over 15 points because he was trying to get adjusted back to that role after starting for the first half of the season. So if you want to be with best, because listen, the Warriors still can't get to the finals for sure, but I don't know if they can beat the Suns right now. I'm really starting to lose faith in that. And then now you got Steve Kerr saying they're gonna come out with different rotations. I mean, different start lineup series to series. Like, what are we talking about here? I don't know if that's effective. I don't know if how that's going to work. I don't know how the players are going to adjust to that. Obviously, Draymond and Steph will be starting regardless, but now you got Wiggins start one series, not starting. Jordan Poole starting, not starting. I just feel like that's a dangerous game to be playing, even though the West is down this year. So it's not a bad year to try it out, but if you don't know who your lineup is when you get up against them Suns, you might get your ass whooped. And that's just what it is. Try to keep switching your lineup if you want to and get fucked up. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I can say about that. So it's like we'll see what the Warriors do. It's gonna be interesting to see what they do Monday when Drake come back. But if it was me, even though he just went off, Clay, bro, get with that second unit, go off. Let's keep winning these games. Let's get the 2 seed because for a while it was okay to mess around and see what you was gonna be able to do with Clay because you had the 2 seed locked up. It's not locked up no more, and you don't even have the tiebreaker over Memphis. So you gonna mess around and have a 3 seed playing a little bit harder team in the first round, and then when you play Memphis in the second round, now they gonna have home court. Now they can still beat Memphis without home court, but who wants to lose home court when you can go grab it? I still think they got a chance at it. They just gotta, you feel me, pull it together. Now if Clay keep playing like he was playing, then forget what I'm talking about. Let's keep Clay, but we'll see if he can continue that path. And all I'm saying is, with the way he played basketball, the second unit would allow for him to get up as many shots as he wants. Let's keep it right on rolling. Let's keep it right on rolling. Okay, so this next thing I want to talk about is I made a list of who has the most to gain with an NBA Finals champion, with a championship in the NBA Finals. I made a list 1 through 10. We're gonna start it off at 10. Now coming in at number 10, we got Devin Booker. I think Devin Booker, if he could win, if he could get the Finals MVP, he takes that next step. I think he would be considered the best shooting guard in the league. I think he would be on that path now. Now he got a ring. Now he can start trying to build out the resume. Then we got Tatum. I feel like Tatum to me is already a top 10 player. If he gets a Finals MVP, he gonna be climbing right above the list. So many people that he in the same range with, like you got him with Luka and Harden and all of these other players. I think he clearly it becomes the best young player in the league if he gets that ring. Ah, your next player, we have Luka Doncic. I feel like if Luka Doncic get that ring, all he got to do is sit back. He top five. He already right there in the cusp of me 6 or 7. He get that ring. He jumping people. He taking his step toward being the face of the NBA. It's clear. Then you look up and you got Embiid. If you look at Embiid, he's already right now. Some people say he's the best center. Some people say he's not. Jokic got the MVP. So if you had to really just break it down, Jokic would be slightly ahead of him. But if he could get the ring and the Finals MVP, boom. Now he takes that spot as the best center league from Jokic, and I think he take Jokic's spot because I think Jokic is like borderline top 10 all time. I think he jump into the top 10 center all time. I think he'd be good. Then next thing you know, we got Jokic. I feel like Jokic, if he get a Finals MVP, oh my God, he already got the MVP over Embiid. If he get the Finals MVP over Embiid too, he'll start to separate himself and start to really put himself up that list of all time greats. Now we talk about a Finals MVP and a rank. I mean, and a MVP, regular season MVP. Patrick Ewing and them, hello, we coming. You know what I'm saying? Okay, moving right along. CP3. I think if CP3 get a ring and a Finals MVP, I think he is not only solidified top five. Some people got him top 5 point guards already. I got him number 6 on my list currently. I feel like if he get that ring, he's in that upper echelon. He's in there with Magic, Steph, Isaiah. I feel like he becomes the tier 1 point guard. When you talk about Isaiah and Steph and Magic, you cannot talk about point guard without CP3 in that category if he could get a ring and a Finals MVP this year. Moving right along, Giannis. I think if he win another Finals MVP, he would be a top 2 power forward all time. It's locked up. He would be just on his continued path to possibly being the GOAT. I really feel like the only player currently, based off what they've accomplished, that could become the GOAT is Giannis. Luka need to win a little bit, and he could kind of maybe. But right now, Giannis is on that path. And the only reason he's not higher is because he's already only 26, 77, and he's accomplished everything. So he has a little bit of room that if he don't win for another year or 2 or 3, he still has room to grow because he already did it. So he already did so much. But if he could get it done, oh my God, the sky's the limit. Back-to-back years, I don't know what to tell you. These next 4 players, I feel like, the next 3 players, I think is super important. If you look at Harden will be coming in at number 3. Harden, to me, is already an all-time great. He's one of the best scorers we've ever seen. He's one of the most unique players in general we've ever seen. I don't know if we've ever seen somebody as great a scorer be as great a passer. I don't know if he's the only player to average 35 plus and also lead the league in assists. Jordan did it. Kobe did it. Will did it. AI came close. They've never let the league in assists. That's ridiculous. Only players that unique that can score and pass the way they do is James Harden, LeBron. It's a couple other there. Maybe Russ you would throw in because he got 2 scoring titles and 2 assist titles. But it's not too many players that's as versatile as Harden. So if he get this ring and the Finals MVP, he's definitely top 5. I just did the podcast with Reek and Reg. They convinced me that he wasn't top 5 yet, that he was about number 7 on the list. So he moved into that list and he starts to knock on AI door. I think he might get even, if he gets the Finals MVP this year with Embiid on his team, I think he still would pass AI. For me, he would be 4th on my list for the Finals MVP. Steph Curry. I think if Steph Curry get this ring and Finals MVP, his first Finals MVP is solidified, I say he's not a top 10 player. Some people say he already is. I would have no more arguments. He would have 2 rings without KD. He would have 4 rings total, which would be the same as Bron. He have a Finals MVP. He have 2 MVPs. He have a unanimous MVP. Multiple first team. He got the 3-point record. It would be a top 10 career, and I wouldn't even be able to argue no more. He would be in there 9 or 10 somewhere, sitting pretty with the upper echelon of the table ones Hall of Famers. He would be there. And then the number 1 player on my list, who I think has the most to gain, is my guy KD. To me, I already got KD number 10 on my list. This is how I got him over Steph, because I already got KD top 10. If he gets a Finals MVP and he could get a ring away from the Warriors and they say, oh, well, he didn't need a Steph to do it, if he could get a ring here, especially now that Harden is gone and he got Ben Simmons there now and it's not as like, oh, it's a lock. I don't know how high Burke could go. He's climbing up my list. That would be 3 rings, 3 Finals MVPs, an MVP, 4 scoring titles. Larry Bird, what's up? We coming. If he get this ring, you're gonna have a hard time convincing me that Larry Bird is still better than Kevin Durant at basketball. It's tough. I know Larry Bird got 3 MVPs, but this would be 3 Finals MVPs for KD. I think Larry Bird got 2, 1, 2. No, Larry Bird only got 1. I think Mikal got 1, and then Cedric Maxwell got 1. So he only got 1 Finals MVP. So we'll take your 3 MVPs and 1 Finals MVP, and we'll take 3 Finals MVPs and 1 MVP. We're working in there, and I think we got KD as the second best small forward all time, only behind Bron. I don't think this 1 ring would help him catch Bron, but I do think it could help him catch Larry Bird and get to the top. That's my list. Let me know what you think about it. I think that's a pretty solid 1 through 10. If you would change anything, reach out. Let's talk about it. I'm here to debate. I'm here to talk. Let's do it. Moving right along though. So now we got the Russ comments, man. My boy Russ, man. This is why I hate it. This is why I was so if you could check my Twitter, you could check all of that. When Russ got traded to the Lakers, I didn't even really tweet about it. Russ is one of my favorite players, and I know he's having a horrible season, but I knew that if he went to the Lakers, it was going to be magnified times 1,000 every time he did something wrong, every time he had a bad game. And now they got to the point where his my guy head. He can't even make layups in the warm up now because he just so mentally threw off with everything that's going on. And he made the comments about, the Westbrook is starting to affect his family and it's affecting him and all of this and that. And all I could really say to that is when it comes to fans, when it comes to heckling players, like I'm against heckling people's families. Like if I'd have been to a lot of games and had a lot of good seats at games and been lower level and it been like, I'd have been at a game before and was sitting next to my Monte Ella's fiance one time and Monte mom and dad. I would have never looked over them, no matter how good or bad Monte was doing, and been like, man, fuck y'all. We can fuck, because that ain't got nothing to do with them, bro. Like family, I feel like it's off limits. So for him to say like his wife come to the game, and even she said she come to the game and be getting death threats or they be yelling shit at her. Y'all gotta leave these people's families alone, bro. This is just a game. But as far as Russ himself, Russ, you got to deal with that shit, bro. Like the Westbrook shit, bro. I don't know what to tell you. I don't really feel that bad for them calling you Westbrook. And I know I'm one of your biggest fans. I'm just saying it's part of the game, bro. When you playing bad, people are going to talk shit. It would be hypocritical for me to sit here and say, oh, y'all shouldn't be calling Russ names, just and that, because Russ is one of my favorite players. I talk shit about players all the time. If you playing bad, and let's say I got money on it, or if it's one of my favorite teams, I talk shit all the time. I call players names. So I can't sit here and be hypocritical. The Westbrook ain't even that big of a thing. This your name is Westbrook. They just changed a couple letters. You've been breaking, bro. Like fuck. Like the way you get past that shit, bro, is to play better. Now you could keep defending your family. That I would never tell you, oh, bro, you being a sucker. No, if your wife feeling like she being disrespected and she don't like it, and she nigga stand up for your wife. You got kids, stand up for your kids. But as far as you go, you're a 43, $44 million a year player, bro. And I know this is wrong to say, but for 44 million, bro, you need to take some of that shit that come with it, bro. And I know this is just your job. And it's like, oh, well, would you let somebody come to your job and talk to you like that? No. But I also don't make $44 million a year. If I made $44 million, I would be a little bit more likely to take some shit at my job. Yes. For what I make right now, nigga couldn't come to my job and just be calling me a bunch of names. I could find another. Ain't too many jobs out there paying $44 million a year, Russ. I'm sorry. You go somewhere else, you're not going to get $44 million. So you need to just sit down, chill, and get shit together, bro. I don't know what to tell you. Brian going for 50 right now. So that's throwing it off a little bit on you. Ain't nobody really going to be. Hopefully they just focus more on Bro going for 50 and not you going for 5. And we can move forward. You know what I'm saying? But, bro, you could complain, and then you complain it to the fucking media. Like, that's going to make it better, bro. That's all they gonna do is plaster it more. If people gonna just call you it more, bro, damn, just sit back and take it and then move forward, bro. But leave his family alone. But as far as he go, bro, I can't help you, Russ. That's just, it is what it is. Moving on, we got Rick Barry comments. Rick Barry came out and said that, he tired of the way the NBA is being played. He tired of them letting players travel. He tired of letting people do these moving screens, this, and that. And honestly, like, at first I'm like, oh, here go this old ass nigga hating. But then when I really thought about it, it's like, bro, he ain't wrong, bro. Like, we have the most talented athletes in the world at the peak of basketball right now. And we got players like Giannis who will run down the lane and take 3, 4 steps and then dunk the ball. We got Draymond setting the legal screens for Curry to get open. We got Embiid doing that shit that he be doing where he take 3 steps and then bump into a nigga and he the biggest player in the league and he be falling like a little girl. Like a lot of that shit we got to get out the league, bro, because a player like Giannis is already unguardable. Now you're gonna give him an extra step or two. Now you're gonna let him push people out the way. We got to get back down to the actual fundamentals of the game. And somebody like me that was really taught the game through a fundamental way, like there's a lot of shit going on in the NBA today that's just irritating to me. But the traveling, the moving screens, all of that, I for sure think it could clean up the game. It'll make it a little bit tougher and it'll make it a little bit more competitive. Call these travels. The thing about it is, oh, players might not be able to adjust. Players don't be able to adjust to whatever the fuck y'all give them. They are the best of the best in the world. If you stop letting them travel, they will stop traveling. I guarantee it. It would make for a cleaner game. It'll make for a fair game. If you're not letting Giannis travel no more, if you're not letting Embiid travel no more, if you're not letting Dre set illegal screens, and all of these, like, these 3 of the people I'm naming is way more examples than that, but it would make for a fairer, more competitive game, in my opinion. So I don't think this is one of them, oh man, get off my line comments. I really feel like it's just he's somebody that played the game at a high level, but somebody that's just a love the game. So when you love something, you want to see it executed at its highest form. This is not the highest form that the NBA could be at, and it's not, depending on when you watch it, sometimes it's not fun. Like when they started the rule for James Harden and Trey at the beginning of the year with the no more Richters, I was hella happy. But of course, the NBA be soft on shit, so that didn't last. The NBA now they back to calling the fouls, letting the players do whatever they want at the beginning of the season. It made it more competitive. You can't, because as a defender, what can you do against James Harden or Trey Young? If you stick your arm, they just gonna throw themselves into you. There's literally no way to guard these players. So we gotta get more rules. I feel like they gotta get more tight on them, and there's gonna be some pushback because at the end of the day, this is an entertainment business. So they want to see scoring. Players or people would rather see Giannis take 3 steps and dunk the ball than him take 3 steps and you call travel. I get it. But it's going to be a little bit of an adjustment period. But I feel like once you really get into it, it's going to be fine. That's not going to be that big of a deal. And I think teams is going to be happy with what they ended up coming out with. So I do think his comments was valid. Moving right along, it's been a few days since I did this pod, so this comment was made, I think, last week, but I had to get it in here. LeBron James said he was pissed that he's not listed as one of the top scorers ever, or he don't get mentioned as one of the top scorers ever. That shit was hella irritating me when I first seen it. Cause, bro, what the fuck are you talking about, bro? You made that narrative up. LeBron James is the one responsible for LeBron James not getting mentioned with the all-time great scorers. Every time LeBron have a big scoring game, it was, oh man, I'm just blessed. I'm a pass first guy. I don't, what I'm saying, I'm not even a scorer. You put that narrative out there for all of me. I've been saying for the longest, how can we say somebody that's shooting almost 20 shots a game and averaging 25 plus points is not considered a scorer? He is one of the best passers of the top scorers all time. But to say he's not a scorer, Magic Johnson was pass first. Magic Johnson was giving you about 15, 18 points, 10, 12 assists. LeBron has some of the best vision in basketball. But just because he has some of the best vision in history does not mean he's a pass first player. He's not a pass first player. He gets his shots up. He does it efficiently, yeah, but he's taking shots. He's getting almost 20 looks. He's trying to get 25 a game. Where is he not a scorer? So it's like, bro, Brian does this shit to his fans because he know that they eat up anything he say. He put out these narratives so that they can come on there and on Twitter and on social media and Instagram and complain about how Brian is getting disrespected. And LeBron is a mastermind of working the media and working to his fans. He know how they is about him. So the shit be made. It's like, bro, what do you mean, bro? You did that. Like, you got to stop doing stuff that's self-inflicted and then blaming them, everybody else. Nobody ever said Brown wasn't a scorer. I've never heard somebody that I know that really talk cool, that know what they talking about, say, oh yeah, Brown ain't no scorer. He can't score. Or, no. Is he a pure scorer? Do he have a deep bag? No. Most of his buckets is coming from, nigga, I'm bigger than you. Get out my way. Let me dunk this shit. Okay, I'm getting, as he started to get older, he got the little fadeaway. Then he stretched out to the three. But when he was in his prime and he was cooking, it was a lot of downhill basketball. But to me, I don't give a fuck how you score your 25. If we talking pure scores, obviously you got KD, Kobe, Jordan, Carmelo, AI, all of these other players. But we have to just talk who. He's up there with all of them players. You know what I'm saying? So He's a top 10 scorer all time for sure. His bag ain't top 10, but him himself, he's a top 10 scorer. He gotta admit that he came up with that narrative about him being pass first. He been pushing that shit his whole career since he came into the league. He been averaging 25 since the second year and been pushing this weak ass narrative, and now y'all let him use the reverse. That is disgusting. But bro, hey man, you gotta just stop coming up with this weekend shit, bro. Because this is why people don't like you, bro. Because you be doing all of this unnecessary ass shit. Like, bro, shut the fuck up, bro. You know you a scorer. We know you a scorer. Let's move on. Okay, here coming into my next thing we got going. We got dev spot tiers. We moving right into it. I know I have my football tiers, but I got my hoop tiers coming. Here we go, moving right into it. Biggest disappointments. Obviously, we got the Lakers. When you start the season and you got LeBron, you got AD, and you got Russ, and you got all these other players. Now, some of us were saying they owe this shit. It might look cool in the regular season, but it's not gonna look good in the playoffs. They Brian like, oh, you know what I'm saying? Don't judge us now. And this is another thing about Brian's like, oh, don't judge us now. We owe. Remember all of that. Then you deleted the tweet. Now you don't want to talk about that. Now it's we getting old. Da, da, da. Disappointment. One of the worst teams in the league when y'all should have been the top contender. Atlanta. We get to the Eastern Conference Finals last year, and it's like now y'all bored with the regular season after one playoff round. Like, bro, get over yourself. What the fuck? The Knicks. Now, this is something that me and Reg, shout out my boy Reg, we was expecting this. We said that they were going to have a drop off. Did I know they were going to drop off this hard and they weren't even going to make the playoffs? No, I did not know that. Portland. I feel like everything about Portland is a disappointment. Dame staying is a disappointment. Them shipping out all them players they did for whatever they shipped them out for is a disappointment. They have their ability, nothing. They have no path to go on. If you went to Portland and said, what's the vision for the future? They would look at you like you didn't even, like, what the fuck did you just say? And you were speaking Chinese. They have no vision for the future. They're just stuck as fuck. Then, okay, you move right along, building in the right direction. These are teams that I feel like they're not going to be there. They're not going to even, they probably won't even be competitive this year or next year, but they're going the right way. You got Minnesota. I do feel like if they could hold on to Towns, if they could hold on to Anthony Edwards, they got a special 1-2 punch there. D'Lo is starting to find his rhythm this year. He having a decent season. They just keep adding pieces. They could be nice. The Clippers, obviously, you didn't have no Kawhi. PG got hurt mid-season, so you knew the season was a scrap. But for them to grab Norman Powell, for them to grab Rocco, they have been making pieces for them to be one of the, if not the most dangerous team coming into next season. If Kawhi Leonard and PG is healthy, I wouldn't bring either one of them back. I don't give a fuck if they do get healthy. I would just rest them up, scrap this season. If we win a series, great. If we don't, we wasn't expecting to with this lineup. Let's keep it rolling for next year. The Pelicans, I don't care what nobody say. I'm standing on. Getting TJ was a good pickup because whenever Zion do come back and they say he lost 30, 25 pounds or something, that's a big deal. Zion, B.I., CJ McCollum, that's a nice big three. I'm not saying it's going to build up right now, but you got that big three. You got Herb Jones. You got Valanciunas. They got some pieces that if you look at it and say, they making some good push. I think they got Graham off the bench. They just need to get a few more pieces, and they cooking with high grease. I do feel like they are a couple of moves away from taking the next step in their development. The Raptors, man, they got Scotty. I feel like that was a good pickup. People wasn't expecting Scotty to go that high. I thought that was a good move for them to grab him. They still try to figure out they're doing Siakam, but I do feel like they fight hard. They just need to get a few more pieces. I feel like they got an okay team. The Hornets. When you look at the Hornets, when you look at LaMelo, you look at Bridges. Obviously, you're trying to build some Rozier. That was good. They kept Rozier. I thought they wasn't keeping Rozier a few years ago. I had really kind of liked it what Graham did, but I think they made the right decision. So when you're a team like that that's been bad for as long as they've been bad for, you got to just keep going through the process, kind of keep seeing what you can hit on in the draft. But I do feel like you got a player like LaMelo and Bridges, who not only LaMelo, it could be a generational talent. He's also somebody that brought a lot out of Bridges in these last 2 years. So now you got something with Bridges. You got him. You got Rozier. I feel like with LaMelo being 6'7", 6'8", that backcourt worked out fine. I think that they on the way. And then you look at Detroit. Obviously, they got Cade. You know what I'm saying? Beginning of the year, it was hella Jalen Green better than Cade. This player better than Cade. That better than Cade. I ain't hear none of that no more. Cade, 7 straight games over 20. I said he needed some 25 and 5 games. He been filling the stat sheet up. He just today had 27, 10, and 9. Talk to him nice. So you got him. Now they got Bagley. Bagley looking like a steal of the year with Cade. They playing good together. You got Haynes, who is, to me, an underrated defender. He an underrated playmaker. I feel like along with Cade is 6'8". So them two together is a solid backcourt. Somebody like him that Cade could get the bucket. He don't really need to take as many shots. He's setting shit up. He playing defense. He a good piece for them. You got a player like Jeremy Grant. Get Jeremy Grant ass out of there. Trade him and a couple picks and get you a wing. And let's keep cooking, man. I think Detroit is on the way. If I was in the Detroit Pistons fan right now, I would feel good about what we were building based around. We got Cade, we got Bagley. Grant is cool, but we know we getting Grant off of somebody. So we just gotta keep waiting and see what we could do. I feel like they on their way. I feel like they got a couple good little pieces. Just keep building, and let Cade keep growing. Because Cade gonna take you places. Cade, to me, said this at the beginning of the year, he is like a Melo or a Luka, where he could fill his stat sheet up. He could play that game. He a big guard. People said it was too early, but I wasn't saying he has accomplished as much. I just said he was on that same trajectory. I feel like he's starting to show it. It's coming alive. I'm all here for it. Moving right along. Playoff frauds. These are teams that I think when they get to the playoffs, they're not going to win around. I do not think that they're that good, but they always seem to play better than that in the regular season. We got Utah. Utah scares nobody. I feel like if Luka could get Utah, Luka could finally get his series, man. I've been waiting for him to get his playoff win. Tatum didn't won playoff series. Trey didn't won playoff series now. It's time for Luka to take that step. Donovan Mitchell done won playoff series now. It's time for Luka to get that ring. To get that win. And this is the team. Utah, Luka coming for you. The Bulls. I've never believed in the Bulls all season. Now it's kind of mania. They done had a few injuries now because it's like, oh, it's only because of the injuries. Oh, it's only because of the injuries. No, it's not, because you niggas is not that good. When the playoffs come, they getting bounced. If they got to see somebody like Boston, they're cooked. They got to see the Cavs. If Jared Allen come back for the playoffs, cooked. I don't see them winning the series. I don't see them getting it done. I don't think they don't have enough depth for me. Like, you talking about the reason y'all losing because y'all didn't have Alex Caruso. Y'all cooked. I don't care what nobody say. Moving right along, we can't win a playoff series. These are teams I think can get a series, but I don't think that they're gonna get too much further than that based off the way they roster set up. I just don't think so. We got Dallas. Like I said, Dallas, I do think they could get past Utah in that 4 or 5 game. But then once the next series come, they're gonna have to play the 1 seed, which is the Suns. I don't think Luka and them got enough to beat the Suns, or even if they had to play Memphis or the Warriors. I don't think that they. Well, I think they could beat Memphis, but if they had to play the Warriors or the Sun, I don't think that they could beat either one of them right now as currently constructed. We have Boston. Boston has been one of the hottest teams in the league come since the new year. I do think they could beat the series. I think they beat I do think they'd beat the Bulls if they had to play them, but I don't think they could beat my Heat just yet. I'm not all the way convinced yet with JB playing. And if they got to play at the 2-3 and they got to play Philly or the Bucks, I think they're cooked. I think that they second round right now is they still with the current team they got. Could they upset somebody? Possibly. I would give Boston a better chance than I give Dallas of upsetting us team in the second round, but I don't think that they get past that. The Nuggets, I don't even know if they really could even get a series. I just kind of was trying to be respectful to Jokic because they're going to have to play either Memphis or the Warriors. I do think if they play Memphis, they got a better chance because Memphis is younger. They don't really have the experience. If they play the Warriors, I think they're cooked. And the Cavs, I do feel like Jared Allen has to be back. They're kind of getting a little exposed without him, but I do think they're a good team. They got LeVert, they got Garland, they got Mobley. If they get Jared Allen back, I think that's enough to possibly get past a team like in the first round. They might could slip by. They might could do it. Moving up, we got conference finals hopefuls. These are teams that I think can get to their ceiling would be the conference finals. I don't think that they really title contenders yet, even though people have been wanting to put them there. And I know it's gonna sound a little weird with this team I'm about to name, but this is just how I feel if I'm trying to be honest. Conference finals hopeful, I got Miami. And Miami, my team, people know I rock with the Heat. D-Wade, shout out you, bro. You got me started with this Heat shit, but I just don't feel like, if we being honest, when I look at Philly, when I look at the Brooklyn, when I look at the Bucks, I just don't think that we're on that level fully. Now, I hope to God I'm wrong. The way our path is set up, we could get to the conference finals because Brooklyn looking like they're gonna get the 7th seed, and then Philly and the Bucks can stay 2-3, we wouldn't have to see none of them into the conference finals. So we could get there. But once we get to see one of them, I don't think we can beat any of them, if I'm just being objectively honest. Then we look at Memphis. I feel like if Memphis could get past the Warriors, I feel like that would be a hell of a gauntlet for them to get past the Nuggets. Then you got to play the Warriors. Then you beat the Warriors. Then you got to beat the Suns. I think it'd be hard for any team to beat the Suns and the Warriors back-to-back series, which Memphis would have to do, which I don't see that happening. So I don't even know if I can see them getting past the Warriors, but if they find a way to sneak past the Warriors, I don't think that, because if they sneak past them, it would have to be like in 6 or 7 games. So you go into the wire against one of the better teams in the league, one of the more gritty teams in the league that's going to have you working, chasing players around on defense, and then they will hound you on while you on offense to then go play the Suns. I just think that would be too much for them. So I feel like the conference finals, if they can make the conference finals though, that would be them being ahead of schedule, and that would be great for their team moving forward. But I don't see them going no further. And then obviously we got the championship contenders. To me, the Suns is the best team in basketball. When Chris Paul come back, I think they're the most complete team. I think they don't have too many weaknesses. They got they got 3-and-D players. They got a scorer. They got a star that can score. They got a star that can facilitate. They have everything you would need. They got bench players. They got shooters on the bench. They got shooters in the starting lineup. They got everything you need. If you, like I keep saying about this team, if you was building a team to be dominant in 2022 or the 2020s in general for the next 10 years, this Suns team is what you would be looking to build. A solid point guard that can play both ends and hit big shots when needed. A two guard that get buckets and also is becoming a pretty good help defender. 3-and-D guys, a big that can space the floor out about 16 feet and also protect the rim. What more do you need? You got backup PG, you got backup big, you got everything. So I feel like they're the most complete team. So they right now is my favorite to win it all. Then you still got Philly. I do when you got James Harden and Embiid, you got a shot. I do feel like Embiid is one of the top 3-4 players in the league this year. So it's like I feel like they right there. The Warriors, I almost took them off this list, but I do feel like they got the second best chance out the West. I do feel like they could beat the Suns. I wouldn't bet on them to beat the Suns. I do have the Suns winning, but I wouldn't just be like, oh my God, it's one of the biggest upsets ever if the Warriors did find a way to get to the finals. So they still in the mix. Obviously, Brooklyn, they showed me a lot other day with Philly. I do feel like, obviously you got Kevin Durant, you got Kyrie Irving. So like I said, two of the most offensively talented players we've ever seen in history of basketball. That's cool. Do your shit. Y'all can get there if they get high. And then the Bucks. What I will say about the Bucks is I had the Bucks as a for sure lock to go to the finals, not the East. They're not a lock anymore. They can be beat. Not even just based off last night. This is a take that I was going to bring out a few weeks ago. I tweeted about it a week or two ago. They are a good team, but it's not like they're unbeatable. They're not a dynasty type team. So when you get a team like Philly, or if you get a team like Brooklyn, they play Brooklyn possibly in the first round. If the Bucks finish with the second seed and they play Brooklyn in the first, they could be going home in the first round. So can I do? Would I still pick them if I had to bet all my money right now? Yes, I would still say the Bucks is coming out the East. But am I gonna be feeling that confident about that come playoff time? I do not know. I really got to continue to look at it and continue to see. But I really don't see how you could just look at it and say the Bucks is for sure a lock to get to the finals. It's tough right now. It's hard for me to say. But listen, so that's my pie for the day. Tune in on YouTube, Spotify. Check me out. Hit me on Twitter if you got any comments. Like I said, we went through my top 10 players with the finals MVP could help. We talked about the Warriors. We talked about Philly, Brooklyn. Talked about Brian. I did my NBA tiers. Rick Berry comments. Let me know what y'all like, what y'all didn't like. Tap in with your boy. Thanks for tuning in.